Is your game perfect in every way? As game devs, we try so hard. We try so hard to stay motivated. We try so hard to make good music, good art, good game design. The list feels endless. And because of that, things aren't always going to be exactly how you want them to be. And that very fact led me to hating my games. There was always something wrong. Nothing ever was 100% correct. And it made me feel like I couldn't bring my true ideas to life. So yeah, I hated what I was making and I almost quit because of it. So if you're worried about how your game is shaping up and you're just unhappy with it, tell me if you hated your games. Were there any games that you just couldn't wrap your mind around? I want to hear about it. I want to show you how I started to view my projects differently and became okay with the imperfection, which allowed me to move forward. I'm going to prove to you today that you can start working less and worrying less and still find success with your game. Let me show you. So back in 2021, I was working on my very first major project. And it started out great. I was getting all of the fundamental features down and it was peachy keen. But as I started to get into the weeds and the tiny details that matter, like good movement and things that felt good, things started to fall apart quickly. Take a look at this. The tiny little details, like the movement here and just some of the way that the sprites looked like right there, it just bugged me because it doesn't look right. I felt like the guy from The Incredibles. I would spend hours and days even trying to figure out these tiny yet important details to no avail. And I would just get so incredibly frustrated because all of these tiny details just kept mounting up and these small things became huge things. It felt like I was wasting so much time. And the reality is that I was working way too hard on my game without even realizing it. And I only realized I was working so hard when I realized I was working towards perfection. And that is a big no-no. Perfection will keep you from moving forward and it will make mountains out of molehills, and that is what it was doing for me. So I would continue to do this, and I actually had to scrap that idea, which is a real shame because I got pretty far in it, but it just became too big, or it seemed like it had become too big. So honestly, I had stopped game dev for a little bit after that. I wasn't done with game dev, but my confidence was gone. And confidence is huge when it comes to game dev. And I would not return to game dev until I participated in my very first game jam. My friend convinced me to do it, so we did a game jam for the first time. Up until this point, I stayed away from them. I don't know what my issue was. I didn't want anything to do with them. I stayed away from them. Huge mistake, by the way. Do game jams because they're amazing. But I'm going to tell you why you should do game jams in relation to the topic we're talking about. And when you do game jams, you figure out what's truly important. You figure out what matters. And what matters is whether the player is having fun or not. Sure, that might mean the movement and the feel need to be right for the player to have fun, but it doesn't always mean that. Game jams showed me a different path to make games. And that path is just getting your ideas out. See, before I wanted to make my idea perfect before it came out. But with game jams, you don't have that option. And your idea just comes out and it's just there. It's not perfect. It's not crisp. It's not clean. It's buggy. But your idea is there and it's out of your head and people see it and people play it and they tell you about it. And that is so important. And game jams did that for me. They allowed me to get my ideas out before my perfectionism stopped them. And that was something I hadn't experienced before. And this is how we all should view our projects. First, you get your ideas out. You get your ideas out and you start building a game. Tweaking and perfecting all of the little pieces, that comes at the end. And even at the end, those pieces aren't going to be perfect. But those pieces don't need to be perfect at the beginning. And really, they shouldn't be because your game is going to change by the time your game is finished. If you're worried about your project and your story is similar to mine, maybe you need to rethink how you're going about creating your game. Get your ideas out. Figure out which ones are the good ones. And how do you figure out which ones are the good ones? Have people play them. Release demos. Get people playing your game. And then once you have the idea and you're like, this is what I want to do, make it good. And then start tweaking all the little details and figuring out which ones actually matter, because I can promise you this, they don't all matter. So you got to figure out which ones do matter. And I think this just makes sense. People want to see your ideas because our ideas make us human, and being human is good, especially in this day and age with AI and CGI. Being human is good and people want to see your ideas. And the biggest proof of this, and the biggest proof that you can still find your success with your flawed ideas, is Undertale. I told you I had proof. I had proof that an imperfect game can be successful. Undertale, in all of its amazingness, is incredibly imperfect. From strange art mistakes to bugs everywhere, people still love this game regardless of all those imperfections. In fact, I would argue that those imperfections make people love it more because it feels more authentic and human, and that is good. Undertale proves that ideas that come from the heart are what truly matter and what people truly want, especially in this day and age. I said it again, in this day and age. What am I, an old person? Instead of buying all of these passes and microtransactions and all this kind of stuff, people want heart, and they want your heart, and they want your ideas, and they want you. So show them you in all of its imperfections, because no one is perfect, and it'd be a shame if we were. You can go check our itch.io page out, and all of those games in there are jam games, and let me tell you what, they are not perfect. But I believe that they are filled with an enormous amount of heart, and people have responded well to them. Obviously, they're not perfect, but they're not meant to be perfect. And this is what I realized. And this is what makes us love game dev anyway. It's us, it's you, it's them, you know, it's truly you, and in all the aspects of game dev, of the art and the music and the level design, it's all you and the team you have, or maybe it is just you, but it represents every aspect of the idea you had. And that is truly special. And game jams helped me realize that. And I hope that if you were uncertain about your game's future because of its imperfection, know that that is good. And know that it's normal to feel that way. But don't let it hold you back, because it will. Perfection is a beast that if you don't tame it and you don't keep an eye on it, it will devour your future. Because it almost did mine. So don't let it do that. So that's my spiel. I hated my games, and now I don't anymore. I got out of my own way. If I can do it, you can do it. I am like the most normal, well, I'm not normal, but I am the most average person ever. So if I can do it, you can do it. We have a game coming out in a few months. It's called Cave Masters. You can go check it out in the link below. I want to hear about all the games you hated. Let me know. Or maybe you didn't hate them, but you let the perfectionist mindset get in the way of them. I want to hear about them. Don't let them die. I want to hear about them. So again, thank you for being here. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, whatever you want to do. And I'll see you next time. I'll see you. I didn't have to say it twice, but I did.